How this iPhone secretly spied on 1.2 billion people, and also this video is by Moon. If you haven't seen him yet, go check him out. He has a great channel.
Apple is currently spying on 1.2 billion people, but this wasn't always the case. Apple was famous for its security. They prided themselves on guarding their users' privacy and even fought the FBI to keep their devices secure. But recently, Apple's been going down a dark path. They've sold out their customers to the Chinese government, made their phones into 24/7 listening devices, and now they're even threatening to scam people's personal photos. So what happened here? Is it true that iPhones really spy on you? And if so, why did Apple become what they had fought so hard against in the past? Well, to answer this, we need to go back to the start. Apple was always priding itself on the state-of-the-art data encryption technology that was built into their products, as privacy and security was one of their top priorities. This focus on security comes in the form of specialized software being implemented on their cloud servers, as well as firmware physically embedded in their phones and other devices. And for years, Apple kept up this reputation. In fact, former Apple CEO Steve Jobs was an outspoken advocate for privacy, and he made sure that the products they were making matched his rhetoric. When Jobs spoke about privacy in 2010, he defined the subject as, quote, meaning people know what they're signing up for in plain English and repeatedly. And along with these comments came a strict set of rules for Apple's data collection and how they use it. Jobs' policy was to, quote, let them know precisely what you're going to do with their data. But unfortunately, the difference between him and the tech giants of today was that Jobs actually stood by what he said about privacy.
We have rejected a lot of apps that want to take a lot of your personal data and suck it up into the cloud.
Apple's focus on privacy was so ingrained into the company's mindset that they actually used to refuse cooperating with law enforcement when agencies asked them to hand over data from potential criminals.
That can be potentially a good thing and also a bad thing. I'd say if someone's been convicted of a crime, I mean, it makes sense. Like, if they're actually already found guilty of doing something wrong, then yeah, I mean, you should be able to look through their stuff because they've kind of lost their freedom. They've lost their rights from, being a criminal that way. So it's what happens. I'm not going to go too much into this, but I was also actually just recently accused of sexual assault, or just, I don't even know what the fuck. All the guy said was assault, and he was just sitting there asking about me. It was just my ex, but just asking questions about our relationship, the whole bullshit. And I'm like, I'm sitting here knowing I didn't fucking do anything. This is why I get so upset when I was talking in the Daz Games video and the Andrew Tate thing. Everyone's just accusing each other. I think everyone should calm down, okay? Just calm down. You're getting riled up over everything, okay? I get so upset about it because so many innocent people get locked up and so many guilty people roam free. That's the issue. I get that, our criminal justice system isn't always going to be spot on perfect. It's shit. I'm going to be honest. I hate the fucking government. It's shit. Everything about it it's absolute garbage. It's fucking shit. They lie to you about every possible fucking thing. I'm not going to go and do that right now. They got a search warrant for my Instagram because she basically said, okay, so let me just give you an example of like how this doesn't make sense. Basically the situation is, it would be like me messaging somebody saying, bro, you stabbed me. That hurt. Why did you stab me? I screenshot that message. I send it to the police and I go, yeah, he stabbed me. You're only taking someone's fucking word for it. Like, you can't, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, sure, you can go and question people and talk to people, but even if you start an investigation just over someone's word, that doesn't mean shit. Because even the fucking officer, when he was showing me, he was reading off messages that he had. It was like 4 messages. It was like 3 from her and 1 from me. It was a screenshot. It was cut out. And I'm like, bro. Then I'm open about fucking talking this because I think it's bullshit. I think it's fucking stupid. I know I didn't do anything wrong. I'll sit here and defend myself as long as I fucking want. I don't give a shit. If you want to sit there and accuse me of anything, I'll sit there and fight. I'll fucking fight you for it in court. I don't care. The only reason I'm ever gonna fucking do something so harmful to somebody, like assaulting, physically assaulting somebody, as in, like fighting someone, would be, I'm not gonna fucking, touch somebody. They don't want to be fucking touched. It's disgusting. But if I were to fight someone, if I were to fuck someone up, if I beat someone up, I do it with reason. Like, they would have had it coming to them. You know, I'm not just gonna go around fucking beating people up for no fucking reason. If I get put in fucking juvie for a while, okay, I don't really give a fuck, okay? If I do something, to me, in my head, it's justified because they had it coming. I'm not saying I'm gonna go fucking Jeffrey Dahmer someone's ass. I'm just saying, if I have to punch someone in the face, they had it coming. I'm not gonna do it for no reason, okay? So, I'm not just someone that just goes and does shit, alright? So, if I actually did something, I'll stand by it because they deserved it. And if I didn't do something, you'll know because I'll sit here. I will take court on for years, bitch. I'll take you on for years. I don't care.
Over the years, Apple has essentially been in a war with multiple governments for years over their evidence handover policies. Federal organizations like the FBI have been requesting a backdoor into all Apple products for a long time now, and these legal troubles came to a head in early 2016 when the FBI wanted access to an alleged mass shooter's iPhone for details on the crime.
See, this is what I'm talking about. If someone is actually convicted of something, if there's straight up proof that they're guilty, then yeah, especially if, you know, you're a mass shooter. You go and fucking murder a bunch of people in cold blood with a gun. I mean, you know, yeah, your rights are going to be taken away.
But while the government insisted that this would be a one-off arrangement, allowing it would have opened the floodgates to a whole host of security issues. And so Apple ended up refusing the FBI's demands, and the company's CEO Tim Cook made a statement where he elaborated on Apple's views on privacy and the feds. Quote, "The government is asking Apple to hack our own users and undermine decades of security advancements that protect our customers. It would be wrong for the government to force us to build a backdoor into our products." Because of this, the FBI later withdrew their request, and it seemed like Apple had won for now. At least it seemed that way, because the FBI did eventually unlock the shooter's iPhone that started the whole ordeal. And even though there was nothing inside that was relevant to the case, it begged the question, if they could unlock the phone in question anyway, why did they need such a backdoor into all iPhones? Some, like Edward Snowden, claim that this was a ploy to set up government mass surveillance. But with Apple standing their ground, it did seem like they were very set in their ideals. Surely nothing would make them falter now, right? Well, Apple's long history of securing their users' security was all about to come to an end, as they eventually started bending to the common data practices employed by all other big tech companies. Relative to their Android competition, Apple would always keep their users' data much more under wraps than the competition. Part of the reason Apple was much tighter with security relative to Google is because of the latter outsourcing much of their technologies to other companies.
Yeah, you can say that that's one reason. Oh, you have a Samsung, you're telling Google you're gonna get fucking hacked. That's not why everyone shits on Androids. People shit on Androids because even my fucking sister says it all the fucking time. It's just like, it's shut the fuck up. She's like, yeah, I have an iPhone, and I'm like, I don't fucking care. And she's like, and you have an Android. I'm like, and? She's like, so I'm better because your camera quality is shit. And I'm like, fucking god, what's new? What's fucking new?
Like they do with Android. I mean, just looking at the disaster of the Pixel phone, it's not hard to see why Google uses this strategy. Apple is nearly the complete opposite, as they work almost exclusively within their own brand of technology and market the devices exclusively as such. And it's not hard to see why Apple does this either, as the company has always had the reputation of being at the forefront of technological innovation, especially in regards to privacy. Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, has even gone on record saying that Apple believes that privacy is a fundamental human right.
Apparently not if we're watching this video.
Privacy to us is a human right. It's a civil liberty.
Although recently, it seems like Apple is changing its definition of privacy, and this downward spiral really began in 2017, when Apple let the Chinese government start to pick and choose what was put on the App Store. In July of that year, Apple received an order from the Chinese government to remove all brands of VPNs from the App Store, because many Chinese citizens use VPNs to bypass the quote, Great Chinese Firewall, a digital iron curtain which blocks access to a huge selection of outside websites. And this system is the cornerstone of Chinese internet censorship.
Known as the Great Firewall of China, this censorship engine allows the Chinese government to regulate the internet and protect its citizens from dangerous content.
Okay, I'm not racist. Okay. I know, I know automatically you can't start a sentence off with saying, I'm not racist, but, and then say something, and then people are gonna call you fucking racist, okay? I'm not fucking racist, alright? I don't care what anybody fucking says, I'm not racist. But, here's what I'm gonna say. Because this is more this is more important than calling somebody fucking racist. So shut the fuck up. Let me talk. I don't hate Chinese people. I don't. I hate the Chinese government. See, I gotcha. I'm not racist. Also, it's not just the Chinese government. I hate every fucking government there is to exist. I don't know any other fucking... the U.S. government sucks. The Chinese government sucks. I don't know. Russia's leader seems pretty ass. Japan is pretty, you know, fucking hard on. What's the fucking word that I'm looking for? I don't know. They just like to fucking spy on people. They just like to pick and choose what's allowed and what's not. It's just bullshit. It's just fucking bullshit. I hate government altogether. Let's just put it like that. But the Chinese government, I think we all know, is by far, I'm gonna say, the most one with the hardest like iron fist here. Like, they're pretty fucking bad. I think the U.S. government's just delusional at this point. They're I don't even know what they're doing.
Regulate the internet and protect its citizens from dangerous content, or at least that's what they claim.
Dangerous content. That's the same exact fucking thing that they called. That's the same thing that if you make a video with Andrew Tate or like Sneeko in it, they call it dangerous. That's why I'll just fucking throw the clip in here for you guys. That's why the Senate has literally, I think I mentioned this before, the Senate has actually looked at one of Sneeko's streams and called him a threat to, I can't remember what the fuck it was. I'll show you guys, but they called him a fucking threat.
One of the gravest threats to our homeland security. Despite these serious threats, I'm concerned that your companies have still not taken the necessary steps to limit the spread of the hateful.
I want to show you something. They played my stream in the Senate. They call me a crazy conspiracy theorist when I start talking about 11/9, when I talk about the big attack on New York City in 2001. When I talk about what really happened, they shut down my stream live. They lied about the Vietnam War. They lied about the Iraq War. They lied about World War II. They lied about 9/11. They lied about the cocoa over and time again. A lot of it you can't. They think I'm crazy. And I tell people like they're watching me. They're watching this stream right now. There's government officials watching this. Let me show you. I'm not crazy. They played it in the fucking Senate. Hey, hey Hillary chat, say hi to the government right now. Watching my shit, analyzing this stream, ready to call me a domestic terrorist. I swear to God, the feds is watching. Feds trying to do a sweep on my stream, chat. You think I'm fucking joking? You think that I'm exaggerating? That's how you know this red pill shit is powerful, and that's how you know it really tests the authority. If this information is so rare that they gotta play it in the fucking Senate, you know there's some truth to it. Even if you think the red pill is garbage, well, these truth seekers, these freedom of speech dwellers, shut up. We need to take the power back. Let me show you. Senate committee hearing on social media's impact on homeland security.
There's no question that there is a relationship between social media amplification of this extremist content and the rise we have seen in hate crimes and domestic terrorist attacks that mark one of the gravest threats to our homeland security. Despite these serious threats, I'm concerned that your companies have still not taken the necessary steps to limit the spread of the hateful, dangerous, and extremist content that has motivated real-world violence. So that we all understand exactly the type of extremist content we are discussing today and how challenging this problem is to tackle, it's clearly a challenge, I'd like to take a moment to show a few examples, if you'd check the screen.
So that's a huge part of the problem globally is shadow banning.
Who's behind it? And even then, the audio on here is terrible. Fucking government watching. Let me run your stream for you. You can't even make it proper. There's an echo on the clip. There wasn't an echo in real life. You guys are so fucking old with your suits. You don't even know how to run the shit properly. We can talk faster than you. I know how to do this better than you. I'm alone here, and you had a worse fucking stream than me. My stream is better than the government. Suck my dick.
Globally is shadow banning.
Who's behind it?
Well, we talked about the Seiko a lot this year. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
This morning, we heard from former executives that your companies have no incentive to effectively address the problem that this content creates or prioritize the safety of your users as you build and introduce new social media products.
I think it's funny. That does kind of, if that doesn't show, because now his YouTube has been taken down. So he has no YouTube, he has no Twitter. He is on Rumble and he is on Instagram though. So, I mean, if you like Sneeko, you can go see him there, obviously. If you say something and they take it down, it's the truth. They've taken one of Sneeko's videos down for nudity just because Tate was in it. I've seen it. There was no fucking nudity in it. There's nothing that appeared to be nudity. And they're like, oh shit, Tate's in it. They're like, delete it, delete it, delete it. And then they just had to give a fucking reason. And there was no other reason besides Tate was in it. And they can't just say that because there has to actually be a reason. So they're like, he was naked? They're a fucking mess. You can see it everywhere. You can see it everywhere. Like, they're just a mess, dude.
It is their greatest tool for their authoritarian regime. Because if you used a VPN in China, it would mean that you're able to bypass at least some of the firewall's restrictions. Knowing this, it's no surprise why the Chinese government doesn't want anyone using a VPN. And so it's no surprise that they demanded Apple remove all of them from the App Store. And surprisingly, Apple actually caved into China's orders. In a complete reversal of what their CEO Tim Cook said in the past, Apple cut off an estimated 130 million Chinese users' access to banned websites by removing VPNs. These banned websites included Google, YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, and a whole host of others. And so Apple's decision made clear that privacy was no longer the value that Apple regarded so highly. Now, like all other companies, privacy is only something that the company can grandstand on. Because even after doing this, Apple still makes a point to market themselves as the defenders of privacy, despite it clearly now just being a marketing ploy. The influence of the Chinese government has taken precedent over the privacy of Apple's customers, and the company has been quick to appease other demands from the CCP as well, like in 2016 when they banned the New York Times app from their store at the request of the Chinese government. And just a year later, the CCP passed a law that, quote, personal information and important data must be stored in China, a legislation that Apple obviously complied with, meaning that all data from Chinese iPhone users would now have their data stored in the government-managed facilities instead of their own company servers.
That's just, I mean, look at that. Look at that. Like I said earlier, if you go and actually read through all the terms and conditions or the terms and service, whatever, if you uninstall TikTok, I don't know if it has to be the first time you ever install something, but maybe try uninstalling TikTok, and then if you have, I'm sure you fucking have it. Everybody does now. Uninstall it, reinstall it, or if you haven't, install it quick. Don't accept it, but just read through it. Or I'm sure you might even be able to find it on the website or something. You could even, if I'll find it, I'll put it in the description too. And then just read through it, and you will see everything that they do. They don't say everything, but you will see some of the little kind of sus things that they do with your information. And they say it, but they purposely make it so fucking long so you don't read it. Because you're like, oh, whatever, except just know, if you don't already know, they do it on purpose so that you don't read it, so that you kind of just accept that they're doing that with your data. But even though you don't know it, it's kind of a mind fuckery shit there.
But the question remains, why did Apple fold so quickly to China after they just won a major battle with the US government only a year earlier? Well, the simple truth is that Apple can't afford to challenge the CCP in any way. For starters, it's estimated that over 90% of Apple's production line is made in China.
Yeah, everything's fucking made in China. You look at a lot of the tags of our tech, made in China.
They rely on Chinese sweatshops to make huge profits, and considering that Apple leans more towards hardware than software, any disruption to their sweatshops would have catastrophic effects for the company. In addition, the Chinese government is all too happy to put sanctions on any foreign company if they step out of line, and the company being sanctioned has no choice when dealing with China. They must fall in line or they are banned from the country. And so as a result of this would...
That's what I was talking about earlier, how strict they are. You don't follow one rule, you're out. They either kick you out or they throw you in fucking prison. They don't care. They don't give a fuck about you. That's why, again, this is why I do not like any government system. They don't care about you. All they want is to take back all their power. Like the US government, they made a constitution and gave you all your rights, and now they're just trying to take them back. It's what it is. You just gotta fight it.
And so as a result of this would serve to be the first major hit to Apple's reputation concerning their privacy. But it wouldn't stop there, because in the years following this, Apple's actions would only get more and more sinister. As it turns out, Apple's privacy infringements aren't strictly limited to China. The company's mindset towards their Western consumers has been to reap the benefits of a good reputation on privacy, all while having other organizations get their hands dirty for them. Although Apple doesn't directly harvest personal user data, they do turn a blind eye to other companies doing this through Apple's own platforms. Tons of applications on Apple's store collect personal information and they get paid handsomely for allowing this. And this seems kind of normal, but Apple itself actually collects some of the data themselves, although they don't classify this as personal, as they insist that this information is not corroborated with identifying factors, whatever the hell that means. And this makes the following statement from Tim Cook all the more confusing. Quote, "Stockpiles of personal data serve only to enrich the companies that collect them. Apple relies on the public facade that they don't harvest data, even when that notion is demonstrably false. Just because the data isn't tied to individual users, Apple is still able to easily profit from all of this. Apple has been raking in money from companies specializing in data collection for years."
Don't you think that something like that would be illegal? Like, initially spying on hundreds of thousands of millions of billions of people. Basically stalking, because a lot of times people don't even know that this shit goes on. I just found out about all of this kind of stuff this year. All of this just this year in 2022. I just found out about all this stuff. Again, this is I know, I'm sure people hate that I fucking say this all the time, but I make these videos for the purpose to spread this knowledge. That is what this is for. I want to show you guys this because this is fucking insane. The fact that this is legal, that the government just kind of, yeah, it's fine. It was like, yeah, whatever, yeah. You can stalk people, but if other people stalk each other, yeah, we're gonna put you fucking jail. Yeah, you're criminal. You know what I mean? It's because they have so much money, they get away with it. Why do you think everyone wants to be fucking rich? You can do whatever you want. Money is power. That's exactly what it is in this country now. Money is power. If you have money, you can bail yourself out of fucking jail. You can just do whatever the fuck you want. Pay some fucking money, not some. You know, it'd be a lot of money. But if you're up there, if you're rich, you can pay anything off. It's ridiculous.
For example, Safari has been routing all their internet searches through Google by default, which comes from a massive deal made in 2018 that earned Apple $9 billion. And what's important here is that all these searches funnel data into Google's gargantuan and immensely unprivate data stockpile, all while Apple profits from it while keeping their nose clean. And this data harvesting scenario is true for all the apps hosted on Apple's store. If they wanted, Apple could implement much stricter rules on collecting personal information through the App Store, but instead they let all of this slide for a profit. However, this is nothing compared to what Apple has been doing over the last couple of years. You see, one of the worst things that Apple has been doing in regards to personal privacy lies at the very center of how the data industry works. Some of the largest tech companies in the world have been founded almost entirely on the raw value of data, and a vast quantity of this information is coming from smartphones. Along with the personal data stored on these phones, the device will always track your location and ping it to cellular towers at all time, which is extremely valuable information that many organizations will pay very good money for, and this problem now applies to everyone. It's called mass surveillance for a reason. You see, it doesn't matter if someone turns their GPS off either, since these factors will paint a very clear picture of where the phone is and has been.
Yeah, that's also the other thing is, I can't remember, I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember exactly where I fucking saw it, but I know it was one of these YouTube videos, but there's a thing with Google Maps that even if you turn it off, it's still tracking your location. It just doesn't fucking show you. But of course, it's still tracking your location. I think the only way for your phone to not track your location is if the battery is straight up dead, so everything's just shut off and it's just nothing is operating. Or you just manually, you know, hold down the power button and then just do the manual power off there. You know, where you have the power off, restart and stuff like that. Yeah, just do power off. But of course we don't want to deal with that every time we want to go somewhere. It's also a high benefit of having these phones, to be able to talk to our friends, call people, you know, go to hang out, meet somewhere, whatever. if we're gonna go out, if we want to go out to a restaurant with our family or something like that, maybe we want to check and see if it's still open. If we're gonna go out for dinner late at night, just some examples, right? But so many apps, just big tech companies, they just take advantage of you. They take advantage of every possible thing that they can, and it's completely legal, apparently, somehow. I mean, I can't control it, because obviously if I fucking could, I'd put a stop to it, but there's nothing I can do, so just to inform people is all I can really do, and just to let you know. Therefore, you can do whatever you want with that information. Rather, you decide, I don't care, shut the fuck up, idiot. You're Tate's boyfriend, you're a fucking sneako dick rider, I don't want to hear it. Okay, fine, I don't care, it's not my issue. But if you want to actually pay attention and listen, great, appreciate it, thank you.
And a phone's location is nearly always at the same location as the owner, meaning this essentially acts as a location broadcasting beacon.
Every smartphone, every phone at all, is constantly connected to the nearest cellular tower. Every phone, even when the screen is off, you think it's doing nothing, you can't see it because radio frequency emissions are invisible. It's screaming in the air, saying, here I am, here I am.
And so Apple is playing a very active role in a system that is constantly tracking and recording the location of every one of their users, all while they boast about how concerned they are with privacy. But however totalitarian the system feels, it pales in comparison to what information that smartphone apps are gathering. Apps on iOS as well as Android are constantly communicating back and forth with third-party companies. For example, simply having a Facebook account means that you've given it permission to track every action you make while using the app. And we all know this, but the surveillance goes way beyond just this, as your IP, the ads that you click on, info about your device, and info about your browser are all being tracked. This isn't even a complete list. Data harvesting is a whole rabbit hole that goes way further than you could even imagine. And this isn't just limited to Facebook, since pretty much every app has their own brand of how they collect user information. That's where the money is behind these apps. And this creates an unimaginably complicated web of digital connections. And your phone is facilitating this 24/7, all while Apple turns a blind eye. Sure, they can let you change specific permissions, but at no point do they show the amount of personal data your phone is sucking away from you. Neither do they allow you to interact with it in any real way. In fact, most apps try to make viewing this as opaque as possible. So if you want to use communication apps like Facebook's Messenger system or any of the others, you have to let them harvest your data.
Yeah, that's just like the thing. You remember when everyone was freaking out before about how Google would know exactly what they were talking about before, but they never, or like the Amazon Alexa or their Siri or whatever, you get ads on an app of things you were just talking about. Let's say you were talking about McDonald's before, and then you get an ad on like Instagram or Facebook of something about McDonald's. It's not a fucking coincidence. The microphone is on 24/7. This bitch can hear me fucking talking right now. They can hear me fucking talking right now. They know every fucking thing that I'm saying. Of course, nothing is important enough for like the feds to actually. It's not like everybody has an assigned agent or something. They're not actually like listening 24/7. But I'm sure they have some type of, to counter terrorism, where if they hear certain words like bomb or some shit like that, they'll like, if you search, the FBI watch list, if you search certain things or you say or look at certain things, whatever, you get put on the watch list, so then they will monitor you, if they feel the need. But I mean, altogether, it is still listening. So if you do, say something about like at my fucking work, anytime I talk about it or I go there, guess what I get ads for? My fucking workplace. It's a restaurant. So I mean, obviously, so they're trying to market their food. I get the food all the fucking time, so it doesn't make a difference. But it's just I just be fucking careful what you guys are talking about, because any slip up, they can be interpreted differently on this piece of shit, and you'll get sent away like that. So just be smart.
And this is all permitted by Apple. But the most awful thing about this is that the whole system is founded on the basis that humanity has given their permission for all of this, even though nobody really knows any of this. I mean, everyone clicks yes on a 100+ page legal agreement, which is usually a document specifically designed to be as lengthy as possible, or is that someone doesn't feel like reading any of it. The entire contract is 7,300 words long, only 200 less than how many are used in the Bill of Rights.
That's everyone's attention span has gotten so fucking small, so short. It's what, equivalent to a goldfish's now, I think it is. It's like 1 point something seconds, I believe. But everyone's so fucking brain dead now, they're just SpongeBob? Yeah, so everyone's fucking brain dead now. And they just want instant gratification. They just want it now. They want to feel good now. That's why they have all the inventions like DoorDash, where you can have food brought to you. You don't even have to do anything. You can just sit at home, wait for the food to come to you. They have OnlyFans. Did you just sit there and watch porn? You just pay, and it's basically just like an online girlfriend type situation, but she doesn't actually give a fuck about you, and you're just wasting your money and your time. So instant gratification now in this world is everything. And that's what I was saying, is that they purposely make the terms and service or whatever, the whole page, so long so that you don't read what they're actually doing in the behind the scenes. It's not so much behind the scenes. You can read it right there, but everyone's so dumb, they just, nah, boring, click, bye. I just want to go into TikTok. I don't want to read it. Just let me watch my TikToks.
And all of this is done to essentially provide an illusion that people have simply handed over their data willingly. But with how necessary it is to be online, it's absurd that privacy is the tax for using digital media. And this illusion has given Apple and all the other major tech companies full access to everyone's private lives. And it's all completely legal. The government has seen to that. And when people like Edward Snowden uncovered this, they were then banished from the country. As Snowden said in his interview on Joe Rogan, the scandal isn't how they broke the law, the scandal is that they don't have to break the law. The erosion of people's privacy has been a gradual process since the early 20th century.
Really? So you're saying if I expose that, well, that's what happened to Sneeko and Tate and Jordan Peterson. They got banned on social media because they exposed the truth. That's just what happens. If they realize that you're a threat to their agenda, as in brainwashing and making people fucking retards, then yeah, they'll get rid of you. Just like that. Because they don't give a fuck. And if you're sick and tired of it like I am, please do something for yourself and do something for other people. Go outside. Do not involve yourself in cancel culture and all of the trannies in the world. All of the they, them, it's. All of the gays. There is no such thing as slurs for people. It doesn't matter if I say it doesn't matter if I say faggot. It doesn't matter. Okay? Doesn't matter if I say beaner. I know that was a newer one for like fucking Mexicans. How the fuck is beaner offensive? Who cares? Oh, what, they eat beans? Oh, okay. Who gives a fuck? Everything in language is made the fuck up. Nothing actually means anything. We've all just kind of openly decided and randomly agreed, oh yeah, that makes sense. Let's just do it that way. That's how I'm able to speak to you. That's how you can understand what I'm saying. That's how in my other videos people get triggered and people get fucking pissed at me and start typing hate comments. But I don't give a fuck because you're just you're conforming to society. I don't give a fuck about you. You're not doing anything for me. Why would I care about you? You're trying to bring me down. I don't fucking like you. If you're gonna sit here and actually support me, I've seen very few people. But for the few people that do actually support me, and for the 270 some people that are subscribed to me, thank you. Thank you very fucking much. I appreciate you and I love you, alright? So all in all, just distance yourself from all of the fucking online bullshit because it's not even real. It's online. It doesn't actually fucking matter. It doesn't matter if someone's online sitting here if you're playing a game or something, you got some free time playing a game, someone's like, you're trash! Okay. I don't know why you're fucking mad. It's just a game. Shut the fuck up. No one cares. Or, you know, you share the wrong opinion about an election or COVID or the whole transgender society thing and everyone starts hating on you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. What are they gonna do? Most of America is now obese. What are they gonna do? Fucking come to your house? It's not like they can fucking hurt you unless they sat on you.
It has been slowly built law by law and now bite by bite. Because today, we're now complacent with mass surveillance. And in just the last year, Apple has made this problem even worse. They have twisted the knife in what was left of privacy in the digital age. Because in 2021, Apple announced that they would be introducing a new system to combat the sexual abuse of children. And at first, this seems great. However, what's the cost of this? Because the company now claims that they are going to monitor the photos on everyone's iPhones.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that recently, where it's a thing where they'll like start watching and monitoring all your pictures in your gallery or your camera roll or whatever. I mean, I don't have anything bad in my fucking photo gallery, but I mean, don't you think that's just kind of like a bit too far? Even if you don't have anything bad in there, don't you think it's kind of like stay the fuck away from me, this is my shit, go away, I don't want you just looking at all my shit, you know what I mean? That's why people have fences around their homes and their yard for privacy, so people don't just look in to their fucking house and their yard, even if they're not doing anything illegal or bad. It's not like they're burying bodies in the backyard, but they just simply want privacy just to feel better so they don't feel like they're being watched. You know what I mean? Like, don't you think that this is a bit too far? I get it. I mean, okay, look. We all know damn well they're just using this as a fucking excuse. Like, there's no need for you to actually fucking survey the entirety of your customers, right? Like, that's just absurd. What you should be doing is that should really only be a necessity if someone's already convicted, of having like child pornography on their, you know, phone, or they found with that shit, you know what I mean? But otherwise, there's no need to search everybody. That's just fucking ridiculous.
All to purely protect children, of course. But given Apple's fondness for child labor, it's a little hard to believe. Coin Neural Match. This system was implemented by Apple to reduce digital contraband on the iCloud. The premise of Neural Match was that it would automatically scan images on your iCloud account and report it to authorities if enough content was found that matched a database of illegal images. Now, it's pretty safe to say that these new features really have nothing to do with actually protecting children and are pretty much entirely about monitoring people and surveying their photos.
Anyone that has children, your love of children, and maybe even if you don't have children, your love of children is so powerful and so strong that you would almost accept anything to keep your children safe. You would do anything. Do you think it's a coincidence that this is the way that these companies that are dependent on data, dependent on being able to access your information, dependent, of course, in the case of Apple, it's hardware, but it don't hurt them to have access. And then remember, they operate in conjunction with government, and some people believe that relationships between big tech and government goes deeper than anyone would sensibly speculate on publicly.
And for a company like Apple, who apparently considers privacy, quote, a fundamental human right, a system like this certainly appears out of left field. And so Apple consumers took massive issue with this. This came in the form of many complaints on forums, as well as an open letter addressed to Apple written by dozens of organizations like cybersecurity firms, VPNs, and privacy networks, as well as many other tech companies. In the letter, they stated that Apple has built themselves a backdoor that undermines the fundamental privacy expectations that many users just expect with Apple products. Security experts also say that because the system would work on the device itself, it introduces a backdoor despite what Apple says. Another major problem is that Apple's Neural Match has easily exploitable technical weaknesses by design. For example, the fact that the system can be reprogrammed to scan for more than what is intended for is a serious security risk. What's more is that the government also decides what is considered an infraction. If they wanted to, the government could demand that system to look for other images such as terrorism, political dissidents, green frogs, and pretty much anything else you can think of. And considering Apple's previous dirty deals with China, it's not a huge leap to see them implementing this technology in such a way. With this kind of system, it's possible that simply having pictures stored on your phone that the CCP doesn't like could become a trackable crime. In the end, Neural Match would give anyone who holds control over it an unprecedented degree of access into people's private lives. Apple has delayed the system's implementation, although it's still planned for an eventual release. These changes are just yet another notch on how Apple has been undermining digital security. But if you've been paying attention to the news and media, the company is still publicly lauded as the beacon of privacy. And part of the reason for this is because in 2021, Apple introduced a system in iOS 14.5 that allowed users to remove consent for ad services and analytics from whatever app they want. It's called App Tracking Transparency, otherwise known as the ATT system, which forces apps to ask for consent before harvesting some forms of data. And this does seem like a really good thing. It limits applications like TikTok's data mining operations, since people are actually being asked whether they want to be tracked or not. And shockingly, most people don't like having their privacy invaded, as 62% of users
I would
opted
assume
out.
not, right?
But unfortunately, this problem isn't the return of the old privacy-conscious Apple that most viewed them as, since there are multiple financial reasons that they allowed this option in the first place. The first of which being that it hurts their competitors more than it hurts Apple. When the feature was released in April of 2021, the ATT was slowly adopted as more and more people updated to the new iOS, and within just 6 months, it was already damaging the companies relying on data collection to make a profit. For example, in October, this was responsible for Meta's revenue stagnating. I mean, Apple single-handedly put a cap on Meta's growth by limiting their most important resource, data, and this meant Zuckerberg had less money to give to advertisers, meaning they in turn were investing much less into advertising with Meta. And this is great when it comes to competition like Spotify or Google. Apple of course also relies on data, but a vast portion of their revenue is tied into their physical product, so the change hasn't hit Apple nearly as hard as it did with the other companies. Furthermore, Apple hasn't put the same sorts of information collection limits on their own apps. Instead, they ask users if they want to opt in to personalized ads. Other companies get the much more threatening word of tracking in the notification. Apple's also been running ads warning users about the security risks from other apps, but of course there's never mention of their own data harvesting systems. And whilst this might seem good on the surface, the Apple of today is a far cry from what the company was only 10 years ago. The policies they've introduced on data harvesting, smartphone tracking, and their appeasement of the CCP have only reaffirmed this. And on top of all of these compounding issues, the threatening release of Neural Match is still likely to happen whether users like it or not. The only question that remains is what will they try to get away with next? Stories like these are always buried behind the surface because big tech companies like Apple don't want to promote the truth, causing these important topics to be covered up. Because of this, independent media is more important than ever, which is why I want to talk to you about today's sponsor, the Epoch Times. The Epoch Times brings you breaking US and world news on all your devices, and original Epoch TV programs like Crossroads, The Larry Elder Show, Facts Matter, American Thought Leaders, and award-winning documentaries. But why should you trust the Epoch Times? For one, they're unbiased. They report important news that other media ignore.
I think that's important for, news outlets to actually be covering the real news and not just a more so biased opinion about being like, oh, this terrible thing. If they use fucking adjectives, it's automatically uncredible. But I think we're going to stop there because there's like a minute and a half left and it doesn't seem like there's going to be anything more to what he's actually talking about for the video. So I think that's about it for that. But yeah. All in all, what I gotta say about that is just honestly be careful online. If you're gonna be using anything, really, just be careful online. If you there's some free VPNs. They're honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, they're probably shit. I have used one VPN that I know is nice, is NordVPN, so I suggest using that. It's pretty fucking nice. It's very useful. So just stay safe online. Don't give in to dumb bullshit. Try to expand your knowledge on things. Try to just become the better you that you've always wanted to be every fucking day. Stop being complacent. Become better. That's really all I gotta say, alright? Whenever you see this, have yourself a great day or a great night, great morning, whatever, whenever you see this. And I'll catch you next time. Adios!